Hi, this session's on strategic EOS, which is Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's a leadership system, and over 200 some thousand companies are using it in the United States. It's incredibly successful. It's very good. I'll talk about the strengths and weaknesses, but it helps you link culture, link objectives, strategies, and communication. I mean, it's pretty comprehensive, right? So, would today be successful for you if you gain some insight and exposure to this tool, which can help you execute it well, generate more client sales, and frankly, improve employee commitment. So specifically, what we'll be talking about. What's the purpose? What is the entrepreneurial operating system about, and why thousands of companies have adopted it of all sizes? What are the primary components? And I'm going to share there what gets used, but some of the components in the system don't get used as much. I'll share why. And three, some requirements for success. What works and what doesn't seem to work as well. Now, your commitment is, if you don't like it, well, leave the session gracefully and quietly. But if you like it, share with some other people, try it. If you love it, celebrate it, tell everybody. And, if I can help out, consider calling me to help out with the team. So, big picture, what's the entrepreneurial operating system really about? Like I said, it links culture, links leadership, links strategy, and links communication. But what are the elements? Well, one, helps the leadership team become more capable to give superior direction to what's going on, to communicate effectively what's going on, and frankly, to develop talent at all levels of the organization. Two, helps you provide organizational alignment. And through great organizational alignment, you'll have more effectiveness, efficiency. But most importantly, what people love about the system is accountability. It really helps drive accountability. Three, because of all that, you end up with superior decision making, both individual decisions, but even more importantly, team driven decisions, fact based driven decisions, and a commitment to action, and again, accountability. And comprehensive plans. It's driven by really focusing on priorities, apologize for the spelling error there, and processes and measurement and improvement. And what I love about it, it helps build awesome team culture. It's crafted with purpose, helps create insight for everybody of what we're trying to achieve, and a sense of belonging for everybody, and a sense of pride. And that's one of the parts I really love about the system. So think of it as a systematized approach, right? You got core values, which shows up in your culture. You got that core focus, right? What do we do and why do we do it? You have targets. What's the big goal? You have the marketing strategy. What pain are you solving for other people, both internally and externally, but more externally, but I like to do the internal part too, employees. Most of EOS focuses on the external customer or value chain. What's a 3-year picture? What's the shorter term future look like so we know what we're striving for? And what's a 1-year picture and the next steps that are going to get us there? What are the initiatives, but in smart, understandable chunks that drive actions to be able to hold people accountable? That is what the system's designed to do and what the components are. So what's this recipe, all right, that drives these results? And think of it as a collaborative leadership team, but it keeps dropping down at levels. Usually start with the leadership team, and as they get accustomed to it and can role model it, then it drops down to the next level and then the next level. But it drives disciplined thought. It drives accountable actions. It drives achievement. And how does it do that? Well, one, the vision of the organization and from the leadership team becomes very clear, and they're integrated dreams of everybody, not just the organization itself, but how individual dreams coincide with the company dreams. And the same with goals, the individual goals tied to the company goals, and how the strategies and the time frames drive that vision, right? It's data. And it focuses on helping assure that we're fact driven so we avoid opinions. Now, it doesn't mean you never have opinions. Why do you have opinions? Well, one is everything in business is a best guess anyway. And opinions are formed from two things: the facts that we have, which are usually inadequate, but the best we have, and the assumptions we need to make, which, again, because we don't have. So we got to make some assumptions, the glue that holds the facts together. And with that, you get opinions, and decisions tend to be made on the best educated opinions, but as much fact driven as possible. It's very process oriented, right? Because in the process of generate, what's the customer want, less on what do we want to do, less on how do we do it, and more to what do they need, and how do we make that happen? And it's a continuous process improvement attitude and approach. The actions are prioritized because it makes it where you can't do everything and you can't do everything at once. So it forces prioritization, which actually relieves people, allows them to focus more and pragmatically solve things. And it's like a lot of different systems, it's getting the right people in the right seats for the right reasons. And as with scaling, and be able to realign those easily. And that's the recipe. What's the benefit? Why do people adopt this thing? Why has it become so successful? Well, again, it's well packaged by the company. I will give them credit for that. But it's cohesive for the leadership team. It helps create a healthier team, helps create a more effective team, helps create a more efficient team. And why? It's a big one. It eliminates a lot of wasted time. Think of all the times that we have of, hey, can you get this for me? Hey, I got a quick question. Hey, I've got this. Hey, what do you think of this? All those meetings take people away from their focus. And when you take them away from their focus, they're less productive. So it eliminates not all wasted time, but a huge amount of wasted time because it forces the discussion at those meetings. It's a decision system. It's structured in a way to generate decisions, to turn problems into issues and situations, to turn those into insight and understanding and analysis, to turn those into options, to use those into choices, and then to focus that this is the decision we're making and how we're going to do it. And with that, well, that drives accountability. Who's going to do it? It has frameworks to make sure it's measured, it's coached, it's accountable. It involves consistency. It creates a common language, a common way of communication, and in that way, value is more likely to occur. It's based on a foundation of key performance indicators of all types. And the reason all types is so you get trends. KPIs at their best, red flag trends. KPIs at their worst are designed to give you an answer. They're designed to give you a better questions. And you can only tell better questions through changes in trends. Frankly, it creates healthy tension. No tension organization doesn't usually end up well. It ends up comfortable, but not well. But it's healthy tension that drives the right questions and shared data. Think about it, even what the United States is all about in the Founding Fathers. Think about what the Founding Fathers did. It was based on strategically and structurally putting a system in of healthy tensions. 3 branches of government. Healthy tension. Because when you don't have healthy tension, you generally don't have good things. When you have too much tension, everyone shuts down except for the one who's creating the tension. When you have too little tension, it's anarchy. And a culture of discipline, which it's accountable collaboration. And what does that really mean? Well, think about discipline. To be great at anything, it requires discipline. And what is discipline? It's often doing what we don't want to do and doing it anyway. And doing it with passion, doing it with a commitment, doing it with energy. And great organizations have great cultures of discipline. Same in sports. What separates one team from another? Yeah, talent comes into play. But I'll take a team with great culture and adequate talent, and they'll kick the butt of a team with great talent and only so-so culture. So what are the basic tools, the 5 core tools? There are other tools, but what are the 5 core ones in their system? Is a leadership accountability chart. Basically, think of that as clarity on who does what, but also what they don't do. And you can see how that creates more accountability, creates more healthy tension, creates more insight, cuts down on wasted time. It's clarity. It prioritizes initiatives based on tying at the very high level the dreams of what we're trying to accomplish, the vision how to get there, but with a 90-day focus, because research shows people can handle 90 days at a time. And when you start going beyond that, in most of the discussions, they drift off. But they can think, do things, or whatever. 90-day is an optimal period. It's been proven over and over in research. There are what's called L10 meetings. Frankly, it's the best part of EOS. The part that people say, hey, I didn't love all of it, but the L10 meetings, which are team pulse leadership meetings, it makes them a lot more effective, makes it a lot more efficient, a lot more disciplined. And at those pulse meetings include scoreboards or dashboards. Things are measured, they're tracked, and we talk about accountability. And the last major tool is the people analyzer. Everyone in the organization, but really thinking through, do we have the right people in the right seat? And what do we need to get them into a different seat, a better seat? Frankly, as said in the book, when they need to be off the bus. So let me go through those specifically. What's in the leadership accountability chart? Its purpose is clarity of roles. Who owns what and who's accountable? It facilitates decision making because it's now fact-based and integrates, and people know where and how they're doing handoffs and collaborating. It assures accountability. More things get done. It enhances communication because information flows now simpler. We know who does what, why, when, how. And accountability, it identifies people's needs. To do it well, people need to know, what do they need? How do I serve others, both internally and externally? Business is all about how do I help somebody else who depends on me avoid a bad day and have a good day. And frankly, another great part, executed well, there's always going to be politics in organizations. There's always going to be a degree of silos, but it pulls most of that out. It creates more of a matrix, dotted line, collaborative versus just cooperative. Cooperative, we all get along. But cooperative and collaborative are very different things. Collaborative, we depend on each other, and we both win or lose together. Cooperative is, I'll be nice to you, I'll help you, but what you accomplish is your issue. What you fail at is your failure. No, it's more matrixed, and we win and go together. The second major one is rocks, and rocks are 90-day initiatives. So what are they? What's the approach? Well, one approach is so we're very purposeful. What are we trying to get better? What are we focused on? I call the things that are outside of that vampires. The things that we're going to get done, but discussing them is sucking the blood away from the most important stuff. The requirement is smart documentation. What does that mean? It means an objective that's just a statement, that's not specific, that you can't measure it, that you're not even sure you can achieve it, that it's not relevant as being extremely important to the vision, the dreams, the objectives, what we're trying to be. And you know when you either succeeded or not. It's time-based. Objectives that are not smart tend not to be that effective. Development, it focuses you to, how are we doing? What's high priority? And stretching us a bit. And frankly, if you're achieving 80% or more of these rocks, you're sandbagging. It's not designed to be sandbagged. It's designed to put in focus what's really important and stretch us a little bit, not sandbag. And the approach, it's weekly meetings, and they're very unusual meetings. As an example, basically, you've got all the rocks, and they get read off. You don't discuss them. You say one of three things. The person who's accountable says it's on track, or it's off track, or I need discussion. Or anybody else can say, I need discussion. And it goes in the discussion box that happens later. We first just holding accountable, where are we at? We on track, off track? Do we need discussion? If the person needs some input and help, if they don't ask for it, but someone says, I got some questions on it, we don't do it then. We do the reviews, it goes in the issue basket. So specifically, what's this level 10 meeting look like? So again, the purpose is avoid wasting time. We do things at the meeting. It's to focus on accountability and action. So we're not having all these mini meetings all over the place and in the hallways, whatever, and taking people off their focus. The approach, it's generally, rule of thumb, 1.5 hours, always the same time, right place. And one of the leaders, or sometimes I rotate leadership, as facilitators amongst the team. And there's no procrastination. And we document things. What's required, what's in the room, stays in the room. It's trusted. It's got to be a safe space. And here's the agenda I use with my clients. One, first 5 minutes. Everyone says a quick thing, something personal, professional, some good news or headlines. I add to that. I ask them to say one thing about somebody in another department that they appreciate and why. And why? Because culturally, people now have someone to talk to and say, hey, I heard about what you did. I heard about that. It strengthens the culture. 2 is then the scoreboard, the measurables. The KPIs. It's not commentary, it's a review, and it's we're on track, we're not on track, and or it needs to be discussed, often that's called let's just drop it down to the list later. Then a rock review, same thing. Are we on track, off track? If it needs discussion, drop down. And then, like I said, I thought I put it here, not in the upfront. I have headlines. I haven't talked about it in a customer or an employee, 1 or 2 sentences, great headline, but I like to push them to where they're talking about employees outside their team rather than on their team. And I think of a customer, again, the same way. A customer is someone who depends on you. So a customer can be internal, not just external. And then the to-do list. What are the commitments from last week's meeting? And how we do on those quick, important 7-day action items. And now we discuss any of the issues. And the way you discuss the issues is you pick one at a time priority and you talk about it, you identify it, you discuss it, you have tools to solve it. Then you go to the next one. And when the hour and a half is up, if we didn't get to them all, that's okay because it means it wasn't as important and it should wait. And then you conclude. You recap what the to-do list and what messages have to happen as an outcome. Who we got to talk to, where we got to share it, whatever. And we rate the meetings. Now, what I do is a little bit different. Most people have just the rocks. I add a few other things. I add sand, which is very clear of, it is the everyday responsibilities. We don't need to discuss them. Only if something comes up, we need input. But it's our everyday stuff. Boulders, it's more than 90 days, but less than a year. And mountains, they're more than a year. And by adding those, because when I didn't add those, some stuff that was really important was getting stuck in rocks and it wasn't reasonable to be within that 90-day period. So that's something I do outside of the traditional EOS. 4th part is the scoreboard. Or I like to call it the dashboard. All right, I think of it like a car, the gas. Do I have enough capacity? The speed, when are things getting done? The warning lights, anything I got to review quickly. And I literally think about it like a dashboard to make sure it has the components of a dashboard. But what's important? The purpose is so we're seeing fact-based achievements. What's working, what doesn't seem to be working as well. Who gets measured? Everybody has numbers. Everybody has SMART goals. What does that prevent? Well, lack of accountability, lack of laziness, lack of wasted resources. The actions are now under the radar. There's a headlight on them. They're watching them. So why do leaders like it? Well, it creates a lot of clarity. A little bit extra work up front to create it, but not murky or subjective after it's created. Holds accountability. The important outcomes, what we're trying to achieve, are understood and therefore more likely to get completed and prioritized right. 3 is appreciation. Because when you have that, you can recognize people, you can encourage people, you have an ability. And appreciation is absolutely critical to have a healthy culture. What's a healthy culture? There's a competitiveness in it, but it's team-oriented, collaborative at the same time. It's supportive. It deals with the entire environment and it reinforces trust and people belonging. That's the major thing that keeps people loyal and committed in companies, that they feel trusted and that they belong. The result, organizations get superior results quicker, more focused, and they're more likely to last a long time and keep working. It's a people analyzer. I like to look at it as the advocate, not the cop of the advocate. And the goal is to help people be in the right place for them at the right seat and what the organization needs. So what is that based on? Well, it's the competency. What skills and behaviors are specifically very important? Not a laundry list. Important. 5 or 6. Measurement. How do they perform on those scales so we can develop an action plan as an advocate? And we discuss it often, not once a month, once a quarter. It's part of the daily discussion of helping people grow. What's their situation? What's their potential? And if there's a new role, when and if are they promotable? What's their current compensation? What's their target compensation? What about the process? I like to do it where I have the individual complete it, and then the manager completes it, and then we compare the two to see what's similar and different. And that way it's truly honest and advocacy as opposed to cop. And most of the time, I think that's appropriate. I have another session on that you might want to watch sometimes on performance reviews, which will go much more in detail on that. So what's the discussion? What have you accomplished? What do we need to help you improve or develop further? What are the key measurables going out future? How important is your role? Discuss so they understand how they affect other people, how important they are. And then reinforce core values of the companies and core needs. And are they promotable? Do they get it? Do they understand their effect on other people? Do they want it? Do they have passion for another position? And do they have the capacity, emotionally and intellectually, to be promoted? And not everybody wants those or is capable of that. And when you do it and they're not, that's a Peter principle. Why leaders like it? It's simple. It's easy to manage and understand. 2, it's more succession preparedness. You avoid crisis decisions. And 3, frankly, it reduces turnover because teams appreciate it. People appreciate the clarity and the insight about their opportunities. Are there issues with EOS? Yeah, EOS as a system, like anything, has some imperfections, and a lot of that's personal opinion, could be my opinion, not everyone would agree, but it was put together as a consulting tool. The consultants make a lot of money at this. I mean, wow, the average one makes $60,000 at least a year. But it's built as a 1-year program and then maintenance mode. And frankly, I think there's gaps, and I actually get brought in several times with clients after a year or two where it's getting a little stale and they can't understand why it's a little stale, but they're still doing it. So what do I think is a little bit not as good in the system that you want to look to improve over and above what you see? Take a look at the decision-making tools and see if you can add some. I think they're a little light there, right? And what do I mean by that? Approaches for the team to create a better best guess and collaboratively. Almost every decision is a best guess. And it's based on 2 things: the facts, best guess, and the assumptions, because facts are usually inadequate and assumptions are often irrelevant or don't fit or whatever. But tools to bring the team together to get better, more robust facts and better assumptions and insights. And when you have a better best guess, you make better decisions because all decisions are best guess anyway. How do you improve it? 2, the strategic competitive advantage in their system. I keep seeing, and the clients I take over in EOS, it's a little weak. It can be strengthened. So whoever you do it with, and if you do EOS and you're just starting out, focus on that and go outside maybe their system. You want to focus on what's the reason why and what's different on why people should use you versus their other options. Communication tools. The concepts are pretty good. There's good stuff there, but there's still opportunity to improve clarity and integrate it with other various elements. Recognition, celebration is there, but there aren't the tools to help make sure and you're reinforcing the culture and the mission vision. That's about celebrating. That's about communication. I think you can do more there. Crisis management. Not a lot there, but the ability to anticipate and respond to unusual events and situations. Succession planning is sort of there, but it can be more comprehensive. It's there through the people analyzer, but I think you can go steps beyond that, especially after a year or two of going through EOS. Financial literacy, I think it's a little weak. Actually, I think it's very weak. And the reason I think it's weak is it tends to depend on absolute numbers and sort of an accounting view as opposed to trends, which is a diagnostic view. The business strategic planning, it's okay. Just make sure it's concise. You know who's responsible. You know it's important. You know it's achievable. It's understood. Strategic culture, over time, you want to dig deeper. That's the driver. That's the glue that keeps all this continuing. With great culture drives great outcomes because it involves passionate people that understand, committed to the same things, enjoy coming to work. And frankly, there's more you can do in leadership skills. Specifically, all good things come from change, and therefore the reality. Leadership has a huge part to do with helping people overcome the fear of change and seeing what's in it for them. 2, leadership skills on employee advocacy and helping them grow. And 3, leadership skills to make sure we're not getting lazy, we're being disciplined to be a good role model. Some thoughts on just this whole approach, integrating strategy, teamwork, and implementation. Winston Churchill said, I'm an optimist. It does not seem too much use being anything else. What do you often see in organizations? A pessimism. And that spreads like a cancer through cultures. John Maxwell, one of the best known business writers, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. In other words, you're going to have to change, but change to drive growth, that's decision. That's not reactive. That's proactive change. Vince Lombardi, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. Very common one, but keep in mind. Brian Tracy, another best-selling author. Successful people are always looking for opportunities to help others. And that's the most important thing in the culture. The most important thing is people coming and looking every day, how can I help someone else avoid a bad day? When you have an entire organization focused on that key concept, you're going to have a pretty good company. Henry Ford said, a business that makes nothing but money isn't a good business. It's a community. It's a system. It's a culture. It's all that. As Michael Jordan said, talent does win games, but it's teamwork and intelligence wins championships. And that's EOS, helps bring together that teamwork and as a group, more intelligence so you win more often. One of my favorite quotes is Andrew Carnegie. Teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision, which is what EOS does, the ability to direct individual accomplishment towards organizational objectives, which is what EOS does, and it's the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. And that's what EOS implemented well will do for you. There's a little bit about my background. You want to look at it later, but the key thing is you agreed today would be successful for you. You gain some insight, exposure to EOS, how it helps generate more client sales and improve commitment because you understand more of the purpose of what entrepreneurial system is, why people adopt it. You understand the primary components, what get used and why, and recurrent success, and a little bit what works and what doesn't. You said, well, you wouldn't be at this stage if you didn't like it at all. You would have already tuned out. So I assume you probably liked it some. If you did, share with some other people. But if you loved it, celebrate it. And if I can ever help in the future, let me know. And by the way, one of the key, there's three major software providers that drive EOS. I happen to be an official reseller of one of them that drives EOS implementations. If you're interested, let me know. I can get you a better price because I'll give up, you know, a portion of my commission on it, and because I want to see it used. And I got clients as small as 5 people using it, as many as, frankly, several hundred. And if you want to check out what that software is, here's a website for it, www.90.iu. So again, thank you very much. Appreciate it. If you like this, I hope you watch more of my sessions.